Hello and welcome to Guy Free Working on Me, a woman's journey to self-awareness. This is a great moment in your life, a moment where you have decided to stop taking care of everyone else and to just start to take care of yourself. Stick with me through these podcasts and we are going to take the best rides of our lives. Listen up. Guy Free Working on Me is not meant to be a permanent lifestyle. It is meant to be a time in your life where you stop basing your worth, your happiness, and your self-esteem on having a man at your side. This is going to be an all-out redeciding of who you are, who you want to be, and what you feel inside. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome. I'm Shauna Hoffman. I hope this past week has been so good to you. We sure have been living through some absolutely crazy times. Times that give us all a moment to look at our lives and see what's working and just what isn't. What do we want to hang on to? What are we willing to shed in order to bring in the new? Bring in a more genuine life to who you feel you truly are. I'm watching people all around me shake up their life to find their true happiness, to make a life that fits for who they know they are at the core of their being. These changes could be as small as what they eat every day, to as big as moving their lives to a new home or quitting the job they've hated for years and just going for their dreams. Most importantly, they're looking deep within to see if they're truly happy in their relationships and their friendships, and maybe, just maybe, it's time to demand better. Personally, I've been going through some work transformations. I have one business that took a huge hit with the coronavirus that I'm rebuilding new and better. I have another where I'm seeing clients virtually from my living room instead of my office. This time for all of us has been like shaking up a snow globe, but for most of us, the snow hasn't settled yet. A matter of fact, the globe hasn't even stopped shaking, literally. So I've been taking this time to reevaluate my own world to see what I want to keep in that beautiful snow globe when it finally stops shaking and settles, and then what maybe needs to change. This podcast has been a glorious outcome of these crazy times for me. I launched it literally right before COVID happened. But in all of my reevaluating everything in my life, I realized that one thing needed to change. The title of this podcast. Though it was named Guy Free Working on Me after my book, it seems that it was not conveying that it was meant for women in any kind of relationship, married, living together, or single. The people I wanted to reach were getting lost in the title. The heart of this podcast is truly a journey to self-awareness, no matter what the status of your life is with a mate. And I have a ton of guys listening to this podcast who are really starting to feel left out. So I am announcing now that I am moving on all of the pieces I need to in order to change the name of the podcast to just that, a journey to awareness. Now the title aligns with the podcast, and the podcast aligns with my vision of how I want to make a difference in this world. Which brings me to that word, title. This is such an amazing start to this conversation of reinvention. The titles we give ourselves, the words we use to describe ourselves, the titles or descriptions the world gives us or our family gives us, mother, wife, daughter, boss, worker, employed, smart, introvert, extrovert, pretty, homely, girl next door, athlete, bookworm, all those words that supposedly define who we are. Well, what if we could strip them all away, shed them, and present yourself to the world as the person you truly know you are deep inside, the person you want to be without the titles and descriptions others have given you? What if you could keep the ways you identify yourself that you love, that honor you, and your true spirit and your true worth, and you can shed the rest? What if you could shed all of the preconceptions of you that are assigned to you by others and that you end up claiming as your own? Okay, let me explain. When we are molded in this world by others' beliefs or opinions of who we are, we tend to believe them. We tend to make them our own. But there comes a time when we have to decide if that is really who and what we feel to be genuine to ourselves. We're talking about years of parents and teachers assigning your worth or your talents to you. Years of society telling you what's pretty and what isn't. Years of the media molding the way we look at each other and ourselves. Years of the way you looked in the mirror and saw yourself. A close friend of mine made it his mission to share that we all have the free will to change our minds and reinvent ourselves anytime something isn't working for us. I just love this. Reinvent ourselves. But the first step in this is realizing something is not working for us. The first step is to look at our lives, our lifestyles, our jobs, our friends, our relationships, our bodies, our self-descriptions, and realize that this just doesn't feel right anymore. And when you can take a nice deep breath, really check in with your mind, body, and spirit, you'll know when something's off. It'll be a nagging, a feeling of unrest, a feeling that change is supposed to come and I may be the one holding it back. It's the craziest feeling, but you know it. It's not an ache, or maybe it is an ache. It could be dreams that you've had that you want to achieve and you just haven't jumped out to do them. It's the craziest feeling, but you know it. It's not an ache, or maybe it is. It could be dreams that you've had that you want to achieve and you haven't jumped out to do them. And just the not doing them is what's causing you the unrestful feelings. I knew I had wanted to write my book, but for the longest time, all I did was talk about writing it. Oh, the nagging feeling that I was lying to myself because I wasn't doing it was exhausting. I knew that the name of this podcast, Guy Free Working on Me, just didn't fit the voice I was sharing. And so I am finally acting on the messages that I feel deep inside me. For some, it may be something you know that you have to leave behind you, and you're just too afraid to admit it or do it. It may be a definition of yourself that you have held on to for so long that you're afraid to let go because you don't know what will take its place. And it may be a new definition of who you are that you truly feel in the core of you, but you are just too afraid, too shy, or too humble to share with the world. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to finally claim it. But to claim it sometimes means to shake up your world in ways that scare you. Transformation has growing pains. You first have to acknowledge that it needs to change. Then you have to allow your thoughts to imagine what your life could be like if it did change. All right, so what stops us? One of the things is that little demon I call denial. Oh, that demon shows its face in so many ways. Denying your unhappiness, denying your instincts, denying your truth, denying your worth, denying your artistic capabilities, denying your intelligence. You may bury yourself in your work or your kids or your partner or alcohol or drugs or working out or anything that will help you pretend that you don't know that your heart is calling for you to change. It could be that you're too afraid of the work that you'll have to do. Sometimes the fear of change is stronger than the hope for joy. But I promise you, denial is much more painful than the transition into joy. And joy is the payoff. For some of you, maybe it's not denial. Maybe it's just that you have no frickin' idea who you are if you let go of all those titles and descriptions that define you. And maybe that's okay. Yep. I guarantee you there is a true, genuine you in there. Maybe you don't know who that person is yet. But I promise you, if you don't let go of the facade you may have chosen for yourself, then you will never know what beautiful soul is underneath it all. All right, not everybody is going through such huge change, huge life transformations. But some of you could be feeling the dream of some new enterprise, or maybe even something like chopping off all your hair. Hey, we women know how we wear our hair defines us in so many ways. Maybe you've been dreaming of getting a puppy, a dog, or a kitten, or an iguana, or having a baby. And the transformation in your life of that kind of responsibility is oh so exciting and oh so terrifying. Transformation can be tiny things that we need to bring us happiness or huge changes that will shake up our world. I want to be the one to empower you to feel your emotions, acknowledge your dreams, and align your life with them. I want to give you total permission to check in with yourself to see what tiny or huge transformation is calling your name. The transitions may not be easy. They may be uncomfortable and scary. They may be confusing. But here and now, I will tell you that bursting out and finding your true self is the most joyous time in your life. So I offer you this week to do a whole lot of check-in. Ask yourself a few questions. Is there something that's not felt right for a long time that if you change would bring you happiness or just plain peace? In other words, what is just not working in your life right now? Is there a dream that you've held for a long time and just stuck into the, oh yeah, for another time in my life category? Well, what would happen if you decided that that time in your life is now? What do you talk about doing in your life that you're not getting done, and why aren't you doing it? What scares you the most about making the change that will bring you happiness? What labels or titles or descriptions of yourself are not true? And can you be willing to dump them from your consciousness? Purge them, let them go. What amazing, positive, loving, new descriptions of yourself are you willing and excited about claiming for the rest of your life? What do you need to let go of in order to bring in the new? I have a saying. You need to get the broken train out of the track for the new shiny train to come in. What parts of your life or identity is it time to release and transform? Oh, I believe in you. What do you need to change to believe in yourself? I want to leave you with this quote from my friend Marianne Williamson that kind of says it all. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Wow. And here's my other favorite line from this same quote. Your playing small does not serve the world. Oh, I hope that this podcast today has given you a key to unlocking all that joy that's waiting for you. I hope that if you know it's time to shake up the snow globe, that you just do it. I hope that today you choose to claim the most authentic sides of your heart and soul. Everyone, be good to yourselves. Say kind things to yourself about yourself. Take chances and surround yourself with loving beings. Thank you for letting me into your lives today, and I look forward to popping back in again next week. The start of A Journey to Awareness with Shauna Hoffman. Thank you for joining me today on the Guy Free Podcast. My hope is that you leave this podcast inspired, fired up, and ready to take that next step on the magical journey of self-awareness. And then you come back and join us again. Oh, and if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review over on iTunes. I gain so much from reading the reviews and getting feedback from my listeners. Each week, I'm going to choose one special person who's left me a review to win my book, Guy Free Working on Me. That was the book that started it all. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out to you if you're the winner. Thanks again for spending your time with me today. Be sure to visit me on the Guy Free Working on Me Facebook page and on workingonme.com for past episodes and insight into the fabulous journey to you.